I'm Agent Morris with the NSA.
We have identified some very, very interesting anomalous type of aircraft.
Traffic is quite luminous and is exhibiting some non-ballistic motion. Over.
Move very rapidly at any speed or whether any direction it wanted to go. Fly could change and go to the right or the left or go crossways without hesitating a bit.
What do you think it was?
Well, if they call it a flying saucer, that's what it is.
EWA 517, do you want to report a UFO? Over. Negative. We don't want to report.
Look, it wasn't my worst Wednesday night.
Good evening, everybody. I am Smiles Lewis, and this is another live edition of Anomaly-NOW, straight out of Austin, Texas. This is the weekly live news roundup for the 501c3 nonprofit Scientific Anomaly Institute, a.k.a. the Anomaly Archives. As I said, right here from Austin, Texas, it's another scorching hot day. Folks, I hope you are keeping cool, not overheating, not having all the terrible possible ill effects of this intense heat that so many of us are going through, and flooding and doom. No, everything's fine. Everything's just fine. Tune in to the end for the ASMR part of this broadcast. Just kidding. Smash that like and subscribe button. Get those notifications. Hit the bell. Please tell your friends. The first one's free. We're selling nothing. Just ideas. Ideas, to quote David Lynch. And aren't we living in a Lynchian world now? Wow. So yeah, no show last week. Same old. Life just got the better of me and I couldn't deal with it. But I'm so glad to be with you all now, here, wherever you are, whenever you are, whatever dimension, whatever you are. So, yeah, what a weird time we are living in. Okay, so there's the whole whistleblower grush. Yes, I've been joking that last month, June, was my birthday month, and whoa, what great presents I got in the form of UFO, UAP whistleblowers. The anniversary 3-hour presentation by Huckster Greer showing his whistleblowers. Who's got the biggest whistle to blow? That is the kind of one of the questions that's going around. And now there's been a leak. We have more leaks. And there has been some pretty weird, dramatic convolutions to this story. And I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. But if not, you can go to our website, anomalyarchives.org. That's ANOMALY. You know how to spell archives.org. And there you can find our past newsletters, links to our past videos. You can find the link to our Flipboard where we aggregate all the crazy news stories that we can, and more than I can have the time to read. Sorry, got the old day job still, like an albatross around my neck, an anchor that ties you down to, day-to-day reality, like paying the mortgage. But if you follow the links over at Anomaly Archives, oh yes, you can also go to our store and buy great Anomaly Archives merch. That's a big help. We would really appreciate it if you'd buy a coffee mug or a hoodie or a mouse pad. There's the mouse pad there. Can you see it? Is it? No, it's not going to even show it. Well, there you go. It's an invisible mouse pad. It's a cloaked mouse pad. But over at the website, you can find the link to our Flipboard and that will take you over to do you see all the links there? All those, there's links there to our Flipboard, which is over here. And yeah, thousands and thousands of past articles that you can read there. And what is there right now? Wow, there is a lot of stuff that we're going to briefly touch on for the next 30 minutes or so. And what should be the big thing? Like I say, it's been leaked. There is going to be a live stream, allegedly, take a drink, of the House Oversight hearing on UAPs held July 26th. Reps confirm this, of course, over at NewsNation.com, NewsNationNow.com, who were along with Ross Coulthard and the debrief with Ralph Blumenthal and Leslie Kane, the ones who broke the story about Dave Grush for my birthday month. And, it's a wild and crazy ride. I got the popcorn going. I hope you are ready to see either a bleep show or the revelation of the final disclosure of the truth. Maybe, probably not. Don't hold your breath. But, I want to be excited. I grew up. I saw Hangar 18, the movie, in the theater, for God's sake. I grew up believing in the classic myth of crash saucers, government cover-ups, and pickled aliens being held in places like Hangar 18. So, yes, NewsNation has broken this story. House Oversight Committee hearing on UAPs will take place on July 26th. Reps Anna Paulina Luna, Republican of Florida, and Tim Burchett, Republican of Tennessee, confirmed to NewsNation. Neither office confirmed any detail beyond the date, but some House Oversight Committees are expected to hold a news conference Wednesday to take questions and provide more information about the hearing. Members Burchett and Luna have been driving the effort to arrange hearings on the topic. The chair of the House Oversight Committee, Representative James Comer, Republican of Kentucky, claimed he and other lawmakers were going to try to get a hearing on the topic later this month. So the link, of course, that will take you to, where is that? Yeah. Ultimately, you get taken to their YouTube channel for the GOP oversight. And here is the pre-planned subcommittee hearing for July 26th. Does not look like has anything to do with this, at least. The title, Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, Information Technology, and Government Innovation hearing, you could almost think maybe that would be it. But then you've got Getting Nowhere, DoD's failure to replace the defense travel system. Yeah, this does not look like the right live stream yet. So probably not that. But yes, jumping back, it's NewsNation that's broken this story, and others apparently leaked it. And wow. So, but even bigger news, Chuck Schumer. So again, this has been described as a very bipartisan coming together on this. And Chuck Schumer rounds introduced new legislation to declassify government records related to unidentified anomalous phenomena and UFOs, modeled after the JFK Assassination Records Collection Act, as an amendment to the NDAA. Now, yeah, the National Defense Authorization Act that always gets passed because, of course, the military-industrial complex always has to have its 2 cents. Oh, I mean billions and billions and trillions and trillions. But, everybody always tacks on stuff. And this one has already been described as potentially cantankerous because of all the social issues attached to it. Let's just leave it at that. But you've probably seen other news articles. I have not seen any real big mainstream media covering any of this yet. Not this alleged subcommittee hearing, not this addition to the NDAA. I'm sure it's all out there. I just haven't seen it yet. But here we go. Over at Senate Democrats, this is democrats.senate.gov. Washington, D.C., Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Mike Rounds are leading an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, which would mandate government records related to unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP, carry the presumption of disclosure. The UAP Disclosure Act of 2023 is modeled on the JFK JFK assassination records collection from 1992, and we'll create a UAP records collection center. Ranking member of the subcommittee on cybersecurity for the Armed Services Committee are leading an amendment, along with Senator Marco Rubio, Republican for Florida, Vice Chairman of the Intelligence Committee, Senator Christian Gillibrand, Chairwoman of the Subcommittee on Emerging Threats and Capabilities for the Armed Services Committee, yada, yada, yada. So there's some crazy, amazing language in this. If you go to the actual document, I love the purpose. What's the purpose? To provide for the expeditious disclosure of unidentified anomalous phenomena records. And this is like a 64-page amendment. Authorize appropriations for fiscal year 2024 for military activities of the Department of Defense, for military construction, and for defense activities of the Department of Energy to prescribe military personnel strengths for such fiscal year. Yeah, on and on and on. You can, of course, continue getting analysis over at the debrief. Micah Hanks is covering it for the debrief, the UAP Disclosure Act 2023, what we know about Chuck Schumer and the Senate's new push for UAP transparency. If you can stand all the ads, there is a nice analysis of this latest development with references to that Senate Democrats' webpage, the actual amendment PDF that we were just linking to, and much, much more. There's been a bit made about the whole idea that Grush presented this information to the Arrow office and nothing happened, that they didn't find anything actionable, or is it just a matter, as some people have surmised, that Arrow, the people involved with Arrow don't have the right level of clearance and aren't able to proceed any further with any actual investigation of the claims made by Grush? Could be. How it makes a certain sense to me. And we shall see. I'm curious, so maybe this July 26th has already been moved. It seemed a little shaky to begin with. So we'll see. We shall see. Meanwhile, you can also find references to UAP in the recent press briefing by Press Secretary Karina Jean-Pierre and the NSC Coordinator for Strategic Communications, John Kirby. Down here in the body of this is, thank you, John. I want to ask you about something that's starting again to gain steam here in Washington, which is UAPs. Yes, I know what that is. Laughter. Still the laughter, of course. There is going to be a House Oversight Committee hearing at the end of this month. Senator Schumer has put forth an amendment to the NDAA that is modeled after the Assassination's Records Collection Act. What level of transparency does the Biden administration believe that the American public deserves and should have as it relates to UAPs? Mr. Kirby, well, without speaking to proposed legislation, I won't do that. As you know, the Pentagon has stood up an entire organization to help collate and coordinate the reporting and analysis of sightings of UAP across the military. Before that, there wasn't really a coordinated, integrated effort to do that. So again, it's just moving right along. This link that we shared, that's probably not going to happen. And their actual website is oversight.house.gov, but it doesn't look like they're keeping it up to date. So who knows whether that's going to go. Maybe I don't think we'll find much there. Meanwhile, on the more sensational end of this thing, can you imagine such a thing? Of course, there were whistleblowers at Stephen Greer's 3-hour plus press conference. And one of the whistleblowers there was this fellow, a former U.S. Marine who sensationally claimed that his unit stumbled across a secret military rendezvous with an alien spacecraft, who says that he was threatened. This guy's story, I didn't know what to make of it. I kept thinking, is this like the UFO version of QAnon? Because, of course, I think there was some in reference to human trafficking with the spaceship or the human reverse engineered craft. Who knows that? But at least some weapons and some very sensationalistic claims. That was always one of my complaints about Stephen Greer, is he mixed in really good witnesses and testimony from people that I didn't find very reputable. Meanwhile, people like skeptics like Dean Johnson are publishing little clips of Jeremy Corbell and Knapp as they prepare for this next alleged meeting.
So anyway, that was a pretty cool clip, and I just thought it was worth repeating. It's funny, man. I want to tell you the story. So I don't want to reveal a bunch of it, but of course there's this conversation of will Lazar testify? And you have been asked, and I've been asked to help facilitate, and we've talked with Bob about it. There's nothing that would stop him from doing it. It's just that he's told you everything that he has to say. But he did say the funniest shit the other day. So what happened was, I'm on video on FaceTime with Commander Fravor and just kind of walking him through kind of what's going on with the hearings, why it's important, what the steps would be, who's holding it. And I go, look, man, it's just going to be a handful, very small handful of people that have a kind of a direct experience, and also I want you guys to kind of shine that, I don't think we're going to have Lazar come up this time. I think that there's too much stigma. And he stopped me. He stopped me in his tracks.
And he basically said he wasn't ever going to help people get money when they ruined his life. So for what that's worth, not really sure. Again, what is this thing going to be like? But again, this whole Schumer getting involved, it's very interesting. I've said all along that I have the distinct impression, my gut is telling me that this is a setup. And everybody knows, if you've watched me or listened to me rant about anything, I tend towards a very skeptical, paranoid version, interpretations of the government's activities in the UFO realm. I'll say it again and again. I believe that there's a true UFO phenomenon that quite likely represents a non-human intelligence, some other sort of non-human consciousness. I also do think a lot of what we are encountering with the UFO phenomena is a reflecting back of our own consciousness, our own collective unconscious and other aspects, other facets of human consciousness. There, again, invoking these trash words, consciousness, quantum. But I can't shake the feeling that this is a setup and that it could take down possibly the journalists who have tried to be careful about their investigations of these claims and tried to represent them, while they all each have their own belief systems about the nature of the phenomena. And as much as they might think they're good at guarding against being deceived, I'm not suggesting that Grush is in on any deception, but you never know. But it also just, it could be that part of the thing that has also worried me for a long time. And as much as I criticize Greer, one of the things that I've always liked about him is we're calling for disclosure, but we shouldn't necessarily believe what they tell us when they allege that they've disclosed. And the propping up by the establishment of the proper thing that should have been done a long time ago, given all that's gone on in the world and in the government and in, with the military industrial complex and the intelligence community and all of those horror shows, one has a right to be skeptical and to reserve judgment and be a little concerned, I think. And but what if? And the other flip side of the paranoia is that, this will be the rolling out of yes, we really have had these technologies. Yes, there really are non-human intelligences, life forms, what have you. I've said for a long time, it would behoove the government, any government, to convince the world that it has alien technology, that it has something as advanced as the things that the myth says are happening, and that the witness testimony and often technological testimony in the form of electronic evidence, though all of these things can be faked and deceived, But nonetheless, it would be an interesting gambit on the part of the current military-industrial establishment to yet again roll out a new disinformation campaign to convince the world that it had something that it may or may not. But then, what if it's real? What if this is all just real and honest disclosure? I'll have to probably eat a lot of crow. I don't want to eat any crows. Doesn't sound tasty, and I don't think it'd be good for the crows. But meanwhile, over on the internet, there's a ton of other news links you can read over at our Anomaly Archives Flipboard. That would be, of course, at flipboard.com/@Anomaly Archives. And then from there, you can link through that. There's some great events coming up. In I think 2 weeks, the SCU are putting Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies are putting on their virtual conference. They've been doing in-person, hybrid. Now they're doing just a virtual only this year. I'll make a comment about SCU in just a little bit. This great free big awesome event is happening over. You can find out at Anomaly-NOW. That's the virtual conference on the anomalous, and September 1st and 2nd. Ryan Sprague is putting this on. It's over 30 speakers. There's a great lineup of folks here. Fred Anderson, Seth Breedlove, Chris Rutkowski, Shan LeGros, Jason McClellan. Just great lineup. Oh, John Greenwald, Tobias Wayland. It was Paul Kimball. Paul Kimball was who I heard about this first from through Facebook. And Erica Lukes, Miguel Romero, aka a Red Pill Junkie. Just the list goes on and on. Oh, yeah, Josh Cutchin and tons of other folks that I may not be as familiar with, but who I am very much interested in hearing from. Micah Hanks. Alex Matsuo. So yeah, we got the link to that Anomicon over at anomicon.com. Also, there's a really good podcast. I've mentioned it before, the Haunted Objects podcast, put out by Greg and Dana Newkirk, and their season finale in the first season of their awesome podcast. I highly recommend the vodcast, the video version. I love watching them interact, but you can also enjoy it via audio. But their season finale is about Area 51, and they have obtained the archives of Glenn Campbell, the Desert Rat, the awesome researcher, thorn in the side of the Air Force and military, who really helped bring to light the information about Area 51. He was also a true friend to the UFO community, even if he wasn't a true believer in that. He was a fascinating individual. He sadly died of cancer a few years ago, and the Newkirks acquired the contents of one of his storage facilities that was going up for auction, and they got some great material for their museum of the paranormal, and I highly recommend that podcast, that episode. Meanwhile, RPJ, Red Pill Junkies, got a great article over at the Daily Grail on quantum gravity's controversial ties to anti-gravity. This is linked to the YouTube video. It's a free online 40-minute mini documentary. Haven't had a chance to watch it, but I'm very much looking forward to it. That's obviously an area very important to all this idea of recovered craft and its potential abilities. Some other not UAP related, despite the imagery here, perhaps underground cells make dark oxygen without light. Fascinating. In some deep subterranean aquifers, cells have a chemical trick for making oxygen that could sustain whole underground ecosystems. Meanwhile, Stanford president resigns over manipulated research, will retract at least 3 papers. This is from the StanfordDaily.com. Haven't had a chance to dig into what's going on there, but it just goes to show that some of the most staunch pillars of academia or the most ubiquitous of institutions sometimes have very shaky underpinnings. I also earlier I mentioned that the SCU has a conference coming up. Robert Powell, former research director for MUFON, who lived MUFON and became a founding member of the SCU, has made an appearance. So many chances for UFO people to make appearances on NewsNation. Expert evidence of extreme acceleration exists, suggests alien technology. There's a nice little interview with Robert Powell over at NewsNation. And we've, of course, already been talking about this bipartisan attempt at disclosure. Meanwhile, McCarthy quips, Pentagon would tell us about UFOs, quote, to request more money. Yes, no, that is the most common refrain, is that so much of everything has come since 2017 in terms of ATIP and the OSAP revelations and Lou Elizondo story has been couched in terms of aviation aerial threats and the idea of identifying emerging technologies that could be from some other foreign power or something else that could be a threat. And so we're disclosing this because we need more money to reverse engineer it and fight it or whatever. Lots and lots of links to coverage about this latest wave upon wave of disclosure news. Meanwhile, longtime paranormalist, parapsychologist, anthropologist Stanley Krippner and others have created this new website, dancingwiththetrickster.com, where people can share their stories of strange experiences. This is a great place to share your stories, share your experiences, and read those of others, very much looking at exploring that. Yes, our good friend Joshua Cutchin had a nice little roundup of the best books for rethinking UFOs and the paranormal over at shepherd.com. We'll share the link to that. There is a picture of Glenn Campbell, who was the creator of the Area 51 Viewer's Guide and the Area 51 Research Center that we were just talking about, the Newkirks having acquired some of his archives. Meanwhile, where did I put that link in the show notes? I think I did. I mentioned the Newkirks again, but yeah, that link there is to our copy of the Area 51's Viewer's Guide that's part of the Anomaly Archives collection. One of the signed editions of that he was selling and giving to friends back in the day, Glenn Campbell. Where is... yes. So coming to Austin, if you're interested in finding out more about the Newkirks, I've already got my tickets. The State Theater, the Paramount, coming up on September 17th, 2023, are featuring Greg and Dana Newkirk's Haunted Objects Live. Now, this is the previous month in August. They're kicking off the world premiere of their long-anticipated paranormal film documentary. Previously, I think the working title was The Crone, but now it's called The Unbinding, I believe. And you can find a link to their trailer for that on their Planet Weird YouTube channel, where their podcast that I mentioned is located. But yep, already got my ticket stateside at the Paramount, Sunday, September 17th. Looking forward to seeing them in person and hearing more about the wonderful materials that they've collected in their Museum of the Paranormal. So what else before we close out? There was, of course, this story from the express.co.uk, not the most reputable news outlet, that headline Anonymous vow to, quote unquote, uncover UFO, UAP, and ETI information. Anonymous ain't what it used to be. That's not a threat, guys. No, please don't dox me. Nothing to dox here. Meanwhile, this is a good headline. We'll probably end with this. Building blocks of Mars life. Perseverance rover digs up diverse set of organic molecules on the red planet. Do you remember when Bill Clinton held the press conference and everybody was like, they're going to reveal aliens on Mars? Well, microbes. Well, Folks, thank you for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun, and I hope you have enjoyed it along with me. And you can find back episodes of Anomaly Now. We launched this back in 2020 when we were leading up to the 6-week Streamathon fundraiser. You can find all those Streamathon fundraiser videos at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Anomaly Archives, or just maybe, I think just Anomaly Archives. It'll get you there. And we really appreciate all your help. Tim, do I think there will be anything conclusive from the upcoming hearings? This alleged stream coming up, no. I don't say there's going to be anything definitive in this first upcoming end of the month stream. I don't even know that Grush is actually going to be at this thing, but it will be good if we can find out who these other whistleblowers are that have testified. That would be good, but then maybe they won't because they're too scared and need protection. I don't know, but no, I don't. I'm not holding my breath, but you could have guessed that. Well, folks, thanks again, and we will talk to you very, very soon. And I'm going to go out with a little something different that y'all, I don't think I've played for y'all. Until next time, good night.